And we're live.
All right, we're live now. Okay, cool. Hello everyone. Welcome to our fifth community call. We are sub-query team, from Auckland, New Zealand. Yeah, because one of our colleagues, like Sean, he's calling from Sydney, Australia. But the rest of us are from New Zealand. I simply can't believe it. It is already our fifth community call. Time goes really fast, guys. You know, I actually took the booster dose just before previous community call. Feel terrible after taking this third vaccination injection. So I missed the previous call. So although the vaccination doesn't feel that great, but I still encourage you take it, as it will prevent you going to hospital eventually, right? Um, as per subquery roadmap, now we are very close to launch our testnet for those of you who interested in running subquery indexer, please keep eyes in our social channel and your mailbox. This year, 2022, is going to be a big year for subquery. As per planned, we will launch our testnet, incentive testnet, stage one mainnet, and also supporting other layer one protocols, right? Too many good things gonna happening in this year for subquery. So can't wait to see this happening. And of course, we will keep supporting the app developers and the blockchain development team, by continuing provide reliable and scalable hosted services. Now February is short, only have 28 days, right? But we will, still achieve quite a lot. We released our latest white paper. Now, James Bailey will talk a little bit more later in this call. Also, congratulations to the team who getting your grant application approved. So huge congratulations to those four teams, right? In today's community call, we're gonna have myself. Also, we have Sally. Later on, she's gonna talk about our, what's happening in the community. Then we have Brittany gonna talking about the grants program. Then at last, we're gonna have James Bailey and Sean talking about what's going on in the from development side. Also, our white paper and the coming GateCon hackathon. Then at the end of the session, we're gonna still doing the Q and A section. So yeah, right. Now I will pass the mic to my colleague. Probably Sally gonna take the mic.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. So this month for our community call, we will be going over our community highlights, updates to our channels, the grants program, and the Gitcoin hackathon. For our community highlights this month, we had a series of really impressive artworks by Al Galenzo, showcasing some really good creativity, composition, and Photoshop skills. And the posters by Spooky Skeleton were also really good with very clear subcrate branding. And this week, I made a compilation of the baked goods around the server. The baking projects all look like they would have been a lot of fun to do, and that is what we love to see. Maybe our next Spartan creative task could even be baking related. Who knows?
I think
Next,
also to mention, Sally, is that we've updated the Figma link for those that use our Figma resource for the material that you use in these community submissions. I believe we've actually updated that and added a few more illustrations, especially from our recent white paper. So have a look at that if you want some more content, branding colors, but also animations and cartoon and kind of small imagery items to use in your future
Look
community
at
pieces.
those. Yeah, look at those animation and the pictures. It looks amazing, right? Thanks to the community, man. You guys did awesome work.
yeah, totally. Yeah, and next, I am really happy to share that the giveaway winners this month will be the community members that were featured in the highlights slide. I think it makes a lot of sense to reward these kind of quality contributions, and you can reach out to me if you see your username here. Otherwise, I will be contacting you to give you Subquery merch. Um, next we have an update to our server. So there is now a new voice channel, which is slightly different from the Stages channel. So Stage channels on Discord have a capacity of 1,000 people, but you can't share your screen or use video, but the new voice channel can. I think this could be useful going forward for workshops and for providing better explanations to questions asked around the server. We encourage our Spartans and ambassadors to use the new audio channel to quickly answer questions through audio and video. And through these channels, we will continue to provide office hours. And we also plan to have more language/country specific events run by our ambassadors. And if you'd like to help promote us in your area with the support of the ambassadors, please let us know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. We did a community call with the Russian community last month, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm really looking forward to talking directly to other communities around the world, whether that's so the Vietnamese community or the Turkish community or the Ukrainian community, maybe even the French one. If anyone wants to run an AMA or a time, feel free to reach out.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Just wanted to talk a little bit more about the grants program. On behalf of the team here at Subquery, we are delighted to announce our first cohort of grant recipients. The 4 teams, as you can see, are Alphabet, Zombies, Datblocker, and Dotsama. And we couldn't be more excited to start working closely with them and bringing their vision to life. We'll be posting an announcement outlining the focus of these teams, so you'll get a little bit more information about what they're working on. But all 4 of them had really strong applications with defined milestones, a clear problem they were looking to solve, and they knew exactly how they wanted to utilize Subquery to support their project. On top of that, they've all been a pleasure to deal with so far, so we just wanted to say a huge congratulations to all of them, and we hope their success only motivates more of you to apply. I know we've mentioned cohorts, but it's not a strict cohort that we're running, and there's no structured kickoff dates or anything like that. It is a rolling application, so we definitely welcome anyone else to jump on and apply today. We'd love to receive your application. And just as a reminder of our bounties that we've launched as well last month, for any of you that have the skill set and the know-how of Subquery and blockchain, there's plenty of ideas advertised on our website for you to apply for. And a bonus for that portion of the grants program is that you get to work with us as well as the team who contributed the idea. So just recently, Fala has asked us to post a couple of ideas for them. So they joined the list of ideas contributed by our esteemed ecosystem partners, along with Akala, Astar, Moonbeam, and Bifrost. So you can just head over to subquery.network/grants to check these bounties out in more detail. And if any of them take your fancy, please go ahead and apply. Rob's just posted the link in the chat as well. So head over there and have a look.
There's been quite a few applications, haven't there, Brittany?
Yeah, there's been quite a bit for me to go through, but I like it. Keeps me busy. So
what makes a good application?
I think the critical pieces for an application are we want 3 milestones. That's how we're running the program. So then we want 3 defined milestones. We want a really clear idea of how you're planning to use Subquery, because that's kind of the whole thing, is that you get to leverage our expertise, the funding, but obviously the platform as well. And just having a clear idea of the problem that you're looking to solve, how you're going to solve it, and what, if there are any competitors, what edge you have over them. I think those are kind of the critical things that I look out for.
And one thing that's been really interesting is, as part of the February challenge for the Spartans, we've been asking for a lot of ideas for projects. And even just scrolling down that list of ideas, even if you don't have an idea yourself and none of these bounties from our ecosystem partners appeal to you, scrolling down the list of ideas of projects in our project channel in Discord, there's a lot of really good ideas there. The community has done an excellent job of thinking up some excellent ideas for new applications and ecosystems. So there's plenty of opportunities and plenty of ways to come up with something cool to work on. You just need to apply today or tomorrow.
Bring it on.
Awesome. And of course, the next thing is Gitcoin Hackathon. Now, we did the last Gitcoin Hackathon, or Gitcoin 12, Gitcoin Bounties, Gitcoin Round 12. You remember we were part of that back in December. That was a 2 or 3 week hackathon back in December. We had 5 bounties with teams like Akala, Remark, Moonbeam, and Astar. And we're proud to announce that we'll be working and sponsoring and providing challenges again in the 13th edition. And that kicks off in early March. We'll be announcing very shortly challenges, bounties for that hackathon. But for all those people that put effort into the GR12, there will be more ideas, more challenges going into the Gitcoin 13 hackathon. So make sure you apply for that grants round. More information is coming on this very shortly, though. So that's the community growth part. Anything else you want to add, Sally or Brittany?
No, I think that's all from me.
Yeah, that's all from me as well.
Awesome. And again, as Dimtro says in the chat, if you have any questions at any point, just ask in the ask a question part. That's the easiest way for us to get to them, and we'll get to them at the end. Anyway, so let's move on to improving the core product. Now, last month we did a lot of, we talked a lot of stuff here. We did a lot of things around setting up example projects and templates, we call them, dictionaries. So it's all about performance and making it easier to start developing. This month we've been quite busy on the subquery network. So there hasn't been as much in the core product, but we're still building stuff. And firstly, I want to remind everyone that we have this roadmap for multi-chain support. And there's already a question in the questions about which will be the first layer 1. And trust me, I really want to announce that it's so close to being ready that, you know, we're pretty much there. The thing about subquery, though, is we don't announce things without being able to do them, right? We wait till it's working and we've got customers using it before we generally announce things. It's very different to the rest of the crypto community. So we're sticking to that rule, and you shall see the first of 5 multi-chain supports, ideally in the coming weeks. We're very close, and we've been talking to a lot of customers or potential future customers in that ecosystem, working with them to put into place. There's a lot going on here. It's really exciting, and we're really looking forward to being able to share with the community and share with the world the first of subquery's multi-chain solutions. Additionally, we've done something really quite under the hood in the past month. And this is really important for EVM support. Ethereum Virtual Machine is a smart contract support that a lot of teams out there use. It's commonly used on Moonbeam, application, DApp Hub like Astar. There are many teams out there. There's like 25 different teams in the Polkadot ecosystem that use the Ethereum Virtual Machine. Now, we have been working pretty hard to improve our support there. You remember we already support that. We already support EVM for Polkadot, for the Frontier Ethereum Virtual Machine support. But we've been working hard to improve that. And one of these ways we've been improving that is supporting dynamic data sources. Now, this is kind of hard to explain, but essentially some protocols out there, imagine a Polkadot swap, a fictional decentralized exchange. They have a protocol which allows you to build a decentralized exchange. But when they created that protocol, they didn't know all the different tokens that would need to be swapped. They didn't know all the different trading pairs. So they use something called a factory pattern, which then dynamically generates a new smart contract for each new trading pair as it's registered. So I launch a token tomorrow. I can go onto Polkadot swap. I can register my trading pair. I can add liquidity to the pool. And that's a new smart contract. Now, dynamic data sources allow us to dynamically generate data sources for those new contracts in the future when they get created. So you can write a subquery project not knowing anything about what trading pairs, for example, are going to be created, and subquery can index each new contract dynamically in the future. So it's very kind of, I guess, for the average person, it's quite difficult to understand, but it's quite big. in terms of developer support for like decentralized exchanges are a perfect example. But any other kind of decentralized protocol that has multiple of different things going on it at once. It's a very nerdy thing, and even I don't fully understand it, but it's quite powerful in the EVM world. Talking about the subquery network, now this is a big one that we're going to spend some time on. I'm going to invite Sean on because Sean is my right-hand man when we Sean and so Sean, which I'm sure you've all met, he's that soothing voice on all of documentation and academy and the Zero to Hero course and our getting started guides. Sean, Ian, our CTO, and we're like the three amigos, and we just spend far too much time, or far too little time really, working on the subquery network together, designing the contracts and the economic models. And so we're really excited this last week to release the next version of the subquery network white paper. You would have seen the news about this. It's a major update to our white paper. And before we go into the differences, I just want to kind of cover the three main kind of priorities for the subquery network. And those focus areas are, firstly, it's multi-chain by design. So from day one, subquery network is designed, we're designing this so that when we support all those 5 new layer ones, they will automatically be supported by the subquery network. So you can have a single subquery network will automatically support all the different layer ones that subquery will inevitably support in the future. Subquery is truly going to be a general purpose indexer that works across different blockchains. We believe in multi-chain, and this is the reason why we're designing it to be multi-chain by design. Secondly, it's simple and accessible to all. Now, many other protocols out there do some really complicated stuff, like really smart stuff, really complicated, but you need a PhD in applied mathematics to understand what's going on. Like the white papers are just like walls of equations and text. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And we think that doesn't really make sense. Like part of building a decentralized network, a kind of an autonomous organization, a community is that it's inclusive. People can understand it. People can participate in it. So it's simple in that way. We're simplified down the key economic designs. And also it's accessible to all. Many other networks that have very limited, let's say you can only have 100 validators. And so in order to be a part of the network, to participate quite actively, you have to stake, for example, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of tokens to access that. We're not going to do that in the subquery network. We're going to push to have as low as possible the threshold to entry. So if you want to be an indexer working away on your home computer, you can do that. You don't have to have thousands of subquery tokens to stake to actually access a network and become an indexer. Same with a delegator. Anyone can be the delegator. Anyone can participate. Even if you're not technical, we're going to build user interfaces that make it easy to participate as delegator. And finally, it's flexible. The subquery network has to work with multi-chain, has to work with indexing data for all different purposes, but it's also got to be flexible in the terms of how we allow people to pay for stuff. Now, Sean, is there anything you want to add to these three main kind of focus areas of how we design the subquery network?
Yeah, I think that's a great explanation, really. Complexity comes naturally, but simplicity you got to really work at. And just highlighting some of the points you made, James, around being open and accessible as the general principles in the decentralized world as well. So yeah, I think you nailed it there, James.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite quotes. I can't recall for the life of me who said it, but it was basically, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. It's easy to ramble on, but it's quite hard to do things concisely and to simplify things down. So when we go to talk about flexibility, one of the big pieces and one of the biggest changes of this new white paper is the way that we handle payment methods. Now, in the current Web 2 world, everything you pay for, whether it's the music you listen to, the movies you watch at night, even the applications you buy for your company or for yourself, right? Most of them you pay on a kind of a weekly basis. You pay a subscription model. And subscription models are huge in this current world, right? Because they make a lot of sense. They're a predictable recurring revenue. You know exactly how much money is coming out of your account every month. Companies are easily able to forecast how much money will come in so they can afford to run stuff. But also, like, you don't have to worry about counting numbers of requests. Like, you just kind of allow it to happen, right? You use as much as you can, and everyone's happy, right? Consumers are happy because they get unlimited access for the month or whatever period. So subscription models and recurring revenue models are quite important in this current world, but they haven't really propagated over to Web3. Everything we do in Web3, or a lot of the providers out there in Web3 are all transactional based. Whether it's the transaction fees you pay for a layer one, whether it's the fees you pay to access data in another protocol, you pay a 0.1 token per request, for example. A lot of them are all transactional based. And we think it has to go further than that. And that's what the main kind of next part of the Subquery Network white paper, the main update is our work into building different payment models that allow consumers and indexes to receive and transact subquery tokens in a way that best suits their needs. So you have your standard pay-as-you-go. This is your transactional pricing. Nothing special there. Indexes will advertise their prices on the network, and consumers will pay that. It's a very ad hoc market. But then you have agreements, and agreements are very different. So let's start with an open agreement. Actually, let's start with closed agreements, but easy to explain. So closed agreement is an agreement between one indexer and one consumer. It's a one-to-one. So I, as a consumer, will go to an indexer and say, I want to have access to this subquery project for a month, and I'll pay you 100 subquery tokens. And the indexer says, sure, that's okay. This is a private agreement. I will spin up and index that project. I know that I'm certainly going to get 100 subquery tokens at the end of the month. There's a certainty of revenue. There's a predictability. It's an easy way to attract indexes to index projects that are not yet indexed, because it provides certainty to them that there's going to be revenue. And then you have open agreements, and open agreements are taking this to a whole new level. So a closed agreement is between one indexer and one consumer. An open agreement starts that way, but any numbers can join. So you can have 30 consumers transacting with 20 different indexes. And there's the same rules applied to all of these parties, right? Each consumer will pay 100 subquery tokens to access this subquery project for a month. Those same rules apply for every consumer. But all those indexes are providing the same data, are getting a cut of that reward pool. But as a result, you get better performance because there's more indexes providing that data. So you have more reliability, more scalability, more performance, better quality of service. And open agreements, we think, are going to be the main kind of payment model here, because it makes sense. It has a lot of performance improvements. It's simple to understand. It's predictable and recurring. It just, in our view, it's better. And there's a lot of stuff in the white paper that goes exactly into the details of how these payment models are put out on chain. Is there anything I missed majorly here, Sean?
No, I think you covered most of it actually, and it's just going back to the flexibility that you normally see that we're trying to promote as well.
Flexibility is really important. So we're working hard on this, and this is why we want to give you an update on the Subquery test network. Now, we're going to call it Subquery Frontier. That's the name we're going to call the Subquery test network. Subquery Frontier will be run over at least 3 sessions. We talked about this last month. Each season will test different aspects of the network. So season 1 is a very small, very tightly controlled, probably very buggy early stage test network. Season 2 is getting bigger. This is when more people will be invited in, and we'll test out the bulk of the network. We'll test out all the different paths, all the processes, all of these different, for example, all of the different payment methods. And then season 3 is full public test network. Everyone's invited in. Let's push Shakala's network to the limit. And so with those 3 seasons in the Subquery Frontier Test Network, we're still working hard on them, and we're expecting to kick off in April. It could be sooner that for season 1 actually, but there will be multiple challenges for people to participate in these seasons and earn Subquery token rewards at the end of it. And Sean, are you going to give us a? Oh, we've got some screen. You want to take over here? Talk us through this.
Sure. If you could just help me click through the slides, leave it this one first.
Yeah.
But well, as James mentioned early on, we want to show you what we've done instead of just telling you what we want to do. So the dev team have been working really hard, as some of you may know, building out this testnet. And I wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek at some of the progress so far. So on screen there, just a couple of screenshots first before I jump in and share my screen. This is a web page on a local host machine, my laptop here, of the very first screen that you see when you're trying to set up an indexer. So if you go to the next screen, once you connect your MetaMask, you go ahead and add a network. And once you're connected, next screen, you go through a small process to become a subquery indexer. So here, there are a whole series of steps that you go through in order to connect to stake your subquery tokens, and then you approve the authorization using MetaMask, and then you can start indexing. So what I'll do is, if you go to the next slide, which will be the demo, let me share my screen. You see my screen now, hopefully? Can you see my screen, James?
Not yet.
Okay, share. Here we go.
Here we are.
Okay, so I'll put this down here to the side. And what you should see on the screen here is I've got a command line here. I'm running the indexer coordinator service in my terminal here, and I've got Docker running as well. So these are running in the background. I'll minimize these. And then what I'll do is open up the screen that you saw just earlier. So that's the Docker environment, and the command line is powering this particular page here. And I'm going to log into a MetaMask.
Unfortunately, your screen sharing is just lagging slightly, but we can remember from the previous screenshots anyway. It's kind of cool though. This is live. This is using the latest kind of version straight from the developers. It's running locally on Sean's computer, and that's why it's probably going a bit slow at the moment.
Yep.
Crowdcast is a memory hog. This Crowdcast.
Cool.
Okay,
Can you see the sync indexer? Can you see this?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Awesome. So you can see the steps that I've gone through previously with a new account. And then from here, let me go and
you'll notice
check.
that every stage here, there's a really nice user interface, right? We put a lot of effort into designing an easy to use application. It's going to be pretty, it's going to make sense, and it's going to be simple to understand, right? There's no like random, we won't ask you to jump over to poker.js and enter some random extrinsic through that. We're providing and working on really nice user interfaces.
Yeah, it's still loading up.
This takes some time, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Oh, I've got a very slow computer here that's being put to the test. I think it's the bandwidth and the CPU that the Crowdcast application is on as well.
It seems to be going.
No, it's still it's still waiting.
I think the lesson is when you get Sean a new laptop.
Yeah, what I'll do is let's pause it here. I'll just stop sharing my screen and
No, you just at the top there where the video is.
oh,
You
there we
hold
go.
over, yeah.
There we go. And we'll continue on, and when it loads, we can revisit.
Demos never go right, but yes, some Nikita mentioned in the chat, yes, it's React.js, the front ends, and those front ends will make life a lot easier. They will be very intuitive front ends, and the same experience will apply for delegators, right? So how's it loading, Sean? We could just verbally explain what it looks like, I guess, for the team.
Yeah, it seems to be still loading. I think it's stuck.
So if anyone's ever deployed a subquery project, which I imagine a lot of you have, when you go to like project.subquery.network to publish your project, it's a very similar process. So once you've connected your account via MetaMask and registered yourself, you can use a new portal, which is basically an updated version of subquery projects, to pick up your project from IPFS.
Just stay
down. It can connect to IPFS, which is Interplanetary File System, and it will pull that project from IPFS. It will deploy that onto your computer. You can then start indexing, and then at some point you can say to the subquery network, and this is a transaction through that UI, you publish the network saying, I'm ready to provide data to the subquery network, and the subquery network will handle that automatically. They will advertise to the rest of the world that you're there providing data on the pay-as-you-go model. And that's basically how easy it is to use. And it's all using the application. All right, so we'll carry on back to the rest of the presentation. So maybe we'll get back to the demo at the end of the day after we load a bit more, but that's how easy it is, really. So it's working. It's not something we're just talking about anymore. It's very close to being ready, especially for season 1 of that subquery frontier test network. It's a working application. It looks really good. Our designers have done an excellent job. Our front-end developers have done a great job, and of course, back-end blockchain developers, they're superhuman.
Here we go, James. Speak of the devil.
All right.
Can you see my screen now?
I can.
Okay. So what you see here is I'm connected, and then we see the steps up above, and then we've got this tab called Projects, which, let me click on this. And I've got some development tokens. I've got some subquery tokens here that I can use to stake. And I hope this one loads up as well. It's very slow. Oh. Yeah, unfortunately, the CPU you can see is not liking it due to the screencast as well.
Don't worry about it, Sean. It's
Yeah. Okay.
It's broadcast. It kills your computer.
Almost
so
there.
that was our demo. Next time we'll do it, and we'll probably pre-record it so we can show you in depth. But you'll probably, by the time we do our next community call, you could probably do it yourself. That's, I guess, our aim. So one last point about the test network, subquery frontier. We have had the indexer applications form online for quite some time, and there's been over 1,800 applications to this. This is huge. We didn't expect it. Now we've got a big job ahead of us of going through the list. But I want to let you know that tomorrow, the 24th of February, will be the last date before we close off that form. So if you haven't already applied, apply by tomorrow midnight, as in 11:59 p.m. on the 24th of February, and from that we will start going through and shortlisting applicants for season 1 and season 2 of the subquery frontier test network. So last chance, get in there. So we always finish these calls with a rundown of our roadmap. we released this roadmap back in, I believe it was September. So a long time ago. And really, we've stayed pretty true to our form, right? I love showing this because it's actually surprisingly accurate. The thing about software development is roadmaps are always like a best intentions, but they never really work out. But for us, we've done all milestone 0, we've done milestone 1. We're making good progress on milestone 2. You've seen examples of the test network of the Network Explorer and DAP. Point-in-time indexing is all done. The contract, the version 1 of our subquery network contract is pretty much approaching ready. Our external code audit is kicking off very soon, I think. We're just packaging up our smart contracts to go for a code audit. We're starting to test these internal micropayments. The enterprise health monitoring, that is getting rolled out pretty soon for our enterprise customers. And then milestone 3, a scalable intelligent routing. We obviously did that a lot earlier. So we're making excellent progress on milestone 2, and staying true to the form. 6 months after we published this document is pretty impressive and somewhat surprising, but it shows you how hard the team is working at Subquery to deliver what we promised to deliver. So it's excellent.
Awesome.
I'm going to go
sorry,
ahead.
James. Third time lucky. It's decided to load. So can I just give another
Yeah,
minute?
sure, go for it.
Let me share my screen. It's probably going to crash when I share my screen, but when I don't. But here we are. So hopefully you can see my screen here. I've loaded up in the projects tab. I've got a project loaded here, right? And to add projects, you just add a project by clicking on this button, and then you can input what's called a deployment ID, which is an IPFS unique identifier. So you paste that in, add the project, which I've already done so here. This example here is A-Star. I can then click on this project and dive deeper into some of the details, right? There's the project description, there's the deployment ID, the website URL. And I'm still running on my localhost port 8000. And then from here, I can go ahead and start indexing, or I can configure my parameters. So if I click start indexing, I can go ahead and click send a transaction. And what this will do is it'll go ahead and create a transaction using MetaMask. And again, what will happen here is MetaMask should pop up, but again, it's going to take a bit of time as well.
And there's a current bug in the front end where that progress bar should be 0 at this stage because we haven't started indexing, but that would show the indexing progress of this particular project.
Correct. And again, it interacts with MetaMask, but I think the CPU is just interfering with the.
You've got like 300% CPU. I didn't realize that was possible.
There you go. So some progress there.
And then after that indexing, right, there's another button that appears and where the start indexing one was, which is basically publish the network, which is excellent.
Here we go. So what happens is that whenever I stop screen sharing, it actually starts working. So it's kind of weird.
It's okay. We can do one more time.
Yeah. Here we go. See how MetaMask has popped up? It's asking me to confirm the transaction here. The fees are very small, as you can see on screen. And once I confirm this, it'll take about 10-15 seconds to process the transaction on screen. It's interacting, it's connected to the network, and then give it a few more seconds and it'll process the transaction. So again, there we go, we made it.
All right, so in summary of what we've talked about today, we've went through the community highlights, office hours. Again, love to talk to more people in office hours. So welcome to join and just paste any questions in the chat. There were some really good questions last time. The grants program, our first cohort going through, and Brittany's done a great job on that. And there'll be more applications and more applicants coming through hopefully very soon. The Gitcoin Hackathon, keep an eye out for the new Gitcoin grants round 13 being released in early March. Get your coding hats ready because there's going to be some big bounties there as well. Core product development, dynamic data sources for EVM support. The subquery network, we've been updating our white paper, of course, the demo, Frontier, and our plan of action for Frontier. So make sure you get your indexer application forms in so we can start processing that. And next month, we should have a lot to talk about, which includes, before then, hopefully, a new layer 1 support with partners in that layer 1 ecosystem using it. Our Gitcoin 13 hackathon will talk about the grants. We'll go into some details there. And we'll probably give you an updated TGE timeline. We'll give you a roadmap to what our TGE will be like and give you a bit more clarity around that date and what to expect before then and why we're doing it that way. So there's a lot coming next time. So again, if you want to participate, join our Discord, do some Spartan quests, because if you can become a Spartan, then you made it. If you're a builder, then head to our documentation. It's on the top of our website. It's very easy to follow. You can go to the Zero to Hero course or the Hero course, sorry, and just get started that way. Follow these tutorials, or you can just dive into the technical reference documents, or you can go to Explorer and look at thousands of example projects and just learn through examples. And then finally, once you're comfortable with your developer, view our grants, look at the bounties, start building, and get paid to do it. Let's see, what else we got to talk about? I think that might be it. Our slides, yeah. Anything you want to talk about? Anything I mentioned or missed, Sam, and that? We can start going through the questions, I think.
Oh, cool. Oh, thanks, James. Man, you did awesome work. Thanks, Sean. For the demo. I know whenever you do a live demo, always something happens. But it seems like at this time it's more to do with your laptop, right? Probably need to get you a powerful laptop to improve the efficiency, right? So yeah, but eventually, you made it looking more impressive, Yeah, over the last couple months time, the development team make a lot big effort, for the development. So we are very close to launch our testnet. So the way how our sort of like a roadmap works is really we need first launch our testnet before public sale, right? It's very important for us to know the real not real this is the indexer who really passionate with our subquery network, right? Then we can sort of like give us a sort of criteria, who is really interested and passionate with running the indexer. So probably then we can working closely with those like indexers, right? To improving our like subquery network. That's the idea. Yeah, that's pretty. I think so. You covers all the slides. It's looking good. Let's jump to the questions, right?
The first one and the most voted one is, of course, about multi-chain.
Yeah.
So although we can't share the next chain, we could probably explain a little bit about what we think about with our decisions with the chain.
Probably just give you guys a little bit idea how we actually the criteria for us to select the layer 1 chains. So if you look currently, like a subquery project is really focus on developer solutions, right? So that means the way how we look at it is really see how much involvement, how much developer involvement for each layer 1 chains. If you look at the whole Ethereum space, right? I think Ethereum probably still has the biggest developer community, right? No doubt. Then apart from Ethereum, we will say probably Polkadot is the second largest developer community involved. Right? Then if you look rest of the layer 1s, which one has more developer involvement is highly likely going to be the one we're going to support next. Right? This is, of course, people have a different view, which one has more developer involvement, in terms of the other layer ones. But it's 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 very, very, I think some I think probably we should have the same view. Yeah,
And it's also about finding big communities of developers. Like there's some layer one chains out there that do a lot of marketing and have a lot of hype around them,
yeah,
but don't have active or large active developer communities.
yeah, you're right.
There are some layer ones that are really quiet but have huge numbers of communities. And there was a report put out by an investment team last year, which like did some analysis on all the developers working in each ecosystem. I forget what it was called.
There was electric. I think
That's
electric investment venture. Electric venture or whatever the name is. Yeah, this is drug. They release an article which is it's the saying analysis telling
Yeah.
us we, which layer ones has more like a developer involvement. But probably if you look the market cap, right? Look, for example, Polygon is not really in high ranking, but however, Polygon is really has apart from Ethereum, it's the second largest developer involvement, right? Like James mentions, a lot of other chains, right? They do a lot of they has a big community, doesn't do much development work, but still have a high ranking, but because these guys do a lot of hypes. But we do believe, right, the more developer involved, gonna have more potential to grow, no doubt.
Yeah, Polkadot was the fastest growing and one of the most active networks after Ethereum, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we operate in. But that's a good indication of other chains that we're looking at is based on the developer focus, the developer interests.
Yeah, because we provide a developer, we make a developer life easier, right? We develop, we provide other tools for the developers. That's our focus. Yeah, as James mentioned, probably we won't share too much with what's the next one we're gonna support.
We'll ruin the surprise.
Yeah, you guys will be get that very soon, because in terms of the development, we already complete the development work. Just need to get some launching partners. So currently, we work on it. So you guys will be get it very soon.
Yeah.
I would say probably very soon. So let's move to the next one then.
Yeah. How Subquery is going to hold community after public sale? I'm not quite sure, Tim, what you mean by that. How Subquery is going to hold community after public sales?
Maybe it's the community calls. We'll continue to support the community.
The community the community is always important, right? Like regardless of, we're not going to be one of those projects that do a public sale and launch a token and then just run off to the beach.
Of course. So what are we gonna do is we trying to make Subquery as transparent as possible. So I think if you look at our roadmap, technical roadmap, we're gonna probably next milestones we're gonna launch after public sale. We're gonna have launch our a Subquery Foundation. So Subquery Foundation basically is a non-profit organization, right? Gonna look after the whole Subquery ecosystem growth. Probably we're gonna have more like a community involvement, right? To get probably gonna run bigger like a grants program, to get more developer participate in our ecosystem to build great like ecosystem, right? So definitely we, as James said, we won't run away. We're gonna be still here, still gonna talking with you guys, to work together, to make Subquery great, right?
And we've always got this long-term plan, right? Like it's milestone 6 out here, and there's no date because it's long term. It's a long way away. But we always have this plan to launch our own parachain. Initially, we're going to launch on, as a smart contract on Akala, but long term, we want to launch our own parachain. and integrate ourselves even more into the ecosystem. But also, the Subquery Foundation, it will start as something that is relatively decentralized, but we want it to move towards and adopt some qualities of a DAO over time, and that will be the ultimate move towards a community ownership of the Subquery network.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah. So, whoever like those, indexers, or whoever really interested, have the passion with the subquery ecosystem, get contact with us. You can build a more sort of like connections with, we definitely gonna have our treasuries. So, or we call it council, right? So it won't, so always our own team to manage it. So we need to make it slightly towards to down, right? So eventually the community gonna own it. But of course it's gonna take time, right? So that means whoever really interested in it, so just keep eyes with us, to working closely with us. So you might got a chance to become one of the council members, right? So yeah.
are we able? Are we? Is it going to be able to stake or lock the token in order to contribute to the system? Well, yes. You should read up on our white paper. We've got a very we've got a couple of short explanations on how the white paper works, but essentially there is a participant in our ecosystem called a delegator, and a delegator can stake or delegate their spare subquery tokens to their own indexer of their choice and earn rewards, a cut of the rewards that the indexer does. So there will be ways for anyone that holds subquery tokens. If you're not technical enough to run indexer, or you don't have any needs to purchase or buy or consume data, there'll still be a way for you to put your subquery tokens to work and earn rewards off them by staking them or delegating them to your favorite indexer.
Yeah, in short, you will get your yield if you delegate or staking your subquery tokens.
Yeah, it's very inclusive. And that was one of our major factors of the subquery network, is it's inclusive and accessible. What are the minimum system requirements for indexes? I really want to know myself, and this is we don't know yet. You saw a demo of Sean running a development version of an index, and it was indexing an active project on his local computer. Sean, how old your laptop? Out of curiosity.
It's a MacBook from
It's
2017,
not
actually.
that bad, 2017.
But
So
Yeah.
it's also running Chrome, streaming online, recording
yeah,
video,
also
sharing the screen.
yeah, sharing screens costs a lot of power as compute.
Yeah.
So
So it doesn't require a supercomputer. It won't require like a huge amount of dedicated resource, although you probably get better performance if you use dedicated resourcing. As part of season 1 of the test network, we will establish what is the effective minimum requirements, right? There's a minimum requirements to run the software, but in order to be kind of competitive, that's probably a level above those minimum requirements. And so season 1 of the test network is designed to kind of tease out what that suggested requirement is. So that season 2, when we invite more people on, we can say you're going to need to run this kind of computer either in DigitalOcean or AWS, or even if you have local hardware, a spare laptop computer lying around, potentially there as well. So sorry, we don't know the answer yet, but we'll let you know when we find out. But it won't be huge. Hopefully not.
yeah, but of course, if you want to provide a reliable or scalable infrastructure, the service to your customer, to because when you're running an indexer, eventually probably you can provide the services to your to the clients, right? So we highly recommend, although we have minimum system requirements, but still, if you want to have, providing good services, you probably need some reliable infrastructure behind it. But anyway, I think is it all questions for
That's
today?
all the questions so far.
All right, cool, awesome.
If there's
Again,
no more questions, last chance to put them in the chat or ask them in the question box. Otherwise,
yeah, the time goes really fast, isn't it, James? And Sean, I can't believe it. This is another community call. Yeah,
Indeed.
indeed.
They say that time is like a roll of toilet paper. The less there is, the faster it goes, right?
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, this is the first time to hear about it.
Well, hey, thank you everyone for joining us today, this morning, tonight, wherever you're calling from, whatever time it is. Thank you for making time to call and listen in. And if you have any questions after this, if you're watching a replay, ask them in the general channel within the Subquery Discord. You can join our Discord using that link at the base of this stream, and we will happily answer your questions there. But don't forget, if you're a builder, start building a subquery tomorrow. Go to our documentation, read up about it, follow a course, because there are grants and bounties there waiting for you. We want to help you start building. We want to support you, both with advice, with relationships, but also with non-dilutive funding. Who doesn't want funding? So get on there and apply now if you're a builder. And of course, don't forget to apply for the last chance to be an indexer for the test network. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks all.